Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Seat Weekly. This is going to be episode 0. I am Benji here with Zeph. What up, Zeph?
Hello.
We're going to bring you this new kind of series here. This will be episode 0, basically an introduction to see our players, the region where we're located, as well as some answers to questions like why is C really not that good? Why do people not think we're good? How good are we? Why aren't we competing in international tournaments, that kind of stuff? And hopefully lead into the rest of the series, which will be basically a rundown of our scene so you guys can kind of learn our players without having to spend hours and hours watching our streams. Just in like quick 10 minutes or so. Basically, first up here, Zeph, can you give us a quick rundown of which countries are in C and which countries aren't in C?
Okay, well, the countries that aren't in C that a lot of people seem to think are Taiwan, Korea, and China. This is because China plays on the Chinese server, and Taiwan and Korea, which were recently merged together, play on what was the Korean server. So that means players like Sen are not actually C players, even though a lot of people think they are. The countries that are actually in the C region are Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, Malaysia, and the Philippines. So from these countries, who are the main teams and players?
Yeah, it's a good question. A lot of people kind of watch our streams and they see random Terrans and Zergs and Protoss fighting. And like, I don't know these players. So quick rundown of the teams. Basically, C is split into 2 regions as far as I'm concerned. There's the Australia-New Zealand region, and there's the actual Southeast Asia region. The Australia-New Zealand region obviously consists of Australia and New Zealand as the countries, and the Southeast Asia region consists of countries like Thailand, Singapore, and basically teams are sort of based in one of these 2 locations. In Australia and New Zealand, there are 3 professional teams. The first being Archaic MSI Esports. They're an old esports team that play in like Counter-Strike as well as other games way before StarCraft 2 came out. They currently have 5 players signed to them in Death, Edge, Pinder, Voices, and Rossi. Very, very strong StarCraft 2 team there, but also have some strong non-StarCraft 2 teams as well in the region. Second team in Australia and New Zealand region is Team Immunity. They are a very, very strong Counter-Strike team in the region, but they have only the 1 player signed to them in StarCraft 2, and that is Yunyo Jun. Moonglade was signed to Team Immunity before he did join FXO. It's a bit of trivia for you guys there that kind of get an idea of where these teams are and what players have been on them. The third team in the region is Xeria Gaming, a brand new team, basically 2 months old. That is only a StarCraft 2 team, unlike the other 2 teams which do dabble in other games. Xeria Gaming has Light, Iagers, Jazzbaz, Mafia, and myself as the manager and caster. Obviously a little bit biased there. There are 2 teams in the Southeast Asia region, that is like Singapore, Thailand. The first is MITH, which stands for Made in Thailand. That has Red Archon and Jump on there. Red Archon being a very, very strong Terran player, going to BlizzCon last year for C. Not this year though, did come 4th. And the second team is Flash Esports, which consists of Revenant and Muse, 2 very strong Singapore players there. The 6th team is FXO. Now, they're kind of not really associated with the region as much. They're more of an international team, but they're kind of based here with Unstable, Frequency, and Dell, some of their management being Australia-based, as well as Tegan, one of their players, obviously based in Australia as well. They aren't really a C team, but they kind of are. They're very, very weird, but they do have a lot of Korean and international players. We've still got to mention them here for their Australians that are on the team. Moonglade currently isn't signed to any team. He is unsigned. Hopefully that will change in the future. I'd love to see him travelling to events and being paid for that way. So it'd be an interesting thing to keep an eye out for there. But there are a lot of other players as well that are just in clans, that aren't with a professional team. You see Alt Pig at IEM this weekend. He currently isn't signed to any professional team, so maybe he might get picked up soon. And there are a lot of other skilled players that are yet to join teams. So Zeph, a lot of people kind of think our server is just full of bad players and that we're just terrible, worst server ever. How good are our players and where do we train?
Well, a lot of people think that our players are bad because we don't see much of them in larger StarCraft 2 tournaments such as NASL, GSL, DreamHack, and so on. So we really end up with no real results to show for that we can use to brag about our players and get their names out there and get them known within the community. So in that way, people just kind of assume that we're a tiny server with a bunch of bads on it. The truth is, though, that our players aren't restricted to just playing on the C server. They can also play on NA, European server, Korea. I'm sure some even play on the Chinese servers. And a lot of the players are actually grandmasters and very high masters on these servers as well. So no GM on C is not just gold on NA or something. The players do actually get the opportunity to play against other pro gamers for StarCraft 2 on the ladder, and even hit pro Koreans on the Korean ladder. So they get a lot of experience that way. And they also get a lot of experience in different types of play styles. So they're not as bad as people think we are.
So Zeph, I mean, why don't we have many C players attending events like MLG or DreamHack?
Well, basically, the whole C region is very far away from the locations that MLG and DreamHacks are actually held at, so the travel cost is really, really expensive to send players, send teams over there. It's around $2,000 for a flight to an MLG, and on top of that, we have hotel costs, food costs, and cab fare. And I mean, that's just for an individual. We have some teams with like 5, 6, 7 players that they want to send, and it's just not possible because we don't have the funds to be able to send all those players over. Our sponsors don't give us as much money as US-based teams get, so we really need to get more people on board before we can even consider being able to send our players over there. So Benji, given where we are now, what's in the future for C?
That's a good question. A lot of people in the C scene currently working on building up our own scene here with sort of a pro circuit going on, perhaps in Australia, perhaps in Singapore. There's already quite large events as well, thousands of dollars in prizes and money as well being thrown out at interstate events, and players are traveling to these events. So we are seeing some small tournaments pop up, even some medium and large ones. But in the future, hopefully we'll see more of these, more consistent tournaments. As well as that, we also have online tournaments which are going very strong as well. And on top of all this, there is also a possibility in the future of being able to send players to events in North America, in Europe, or in Korea. We're already seeing players like Moonglade in the NASL and FXO in the GSTL do this. I mean, we do have players going overseas and playing in these other events. So it's good to see, and hopefully that will continue in the future. So to wrap it up, this was episode 0 of the C Weekly. This is kind of a one-off episode to kind of introduce you guys to our scene and our players. And in the future, we'll hopefully get some more episodes. That'll actually be sort of a normal type of format with more tournament results, player spotlights, team spotlights, and sort like that. So definitely tune into that if you want to sort of get knowledge of the C scene in a quick 10 minutes. Thank you, Zeph, for joining me today and helping me out.
My pleasure.
And hopefully we'll catch you guys in the future episodes.